Welcome everybody to the Robert Mack Podcast, episode beta, with my main man, Krys Benyamein. This dude is a legend. He is a real estate rock star. He is a social media influencer. He's one of the most creative people I know, and he's just an overall great guy. And I said, hey man, would you do a dry run with me on my podcast so I could see if we can work out all the kinks? And he said yes.
I'm flattered.
So we're here today.
Let's go.
And I'm excited, man. Like, I've never actually done like a legit podcast interview. So I've got my notes here because I don't consider myself a great interviewer yet.
I'll be honest, that was so dialed in.
It felt dialed in.
When he said go, I was like, are we ready? And you were ready. That was great.
It's literally, people go, how are you so great on camera? And I said, by the way, I'm not patting myself on the back, but I do feel like I'm pretty good on camera. And it comes from repetition.
100%.
I've been doing it since 2010. I'm comfortable doing it.
100%.
And so for the people out there that are like, I'm not good at it, you just need to practice more.
Amen.
So, dude, let's jump right in, man. First of all, thank you for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
I'm so grateful to learn a little bit more about you today and be able to collaborate on some social media. But first, I want to get your take on this room. Like, how do you think it turned out, this podcast setup?
We were just talking about it before we started running. I think it looks really good, man. I love these chairs. I love the setup. I love how you're going to leave it plug and play for people to be able to use. I think that's just so much value to agents. And then also, creativity doesn't live in a vacuum. So when that strikes you, for you to be able to just sit down with your homies, like click record and go, this is good. I love the soft lighting.
Awesome, man.
Thank
you, dude. Thank you. Okay, so I want to tell you a funny story about these chairs. Actually, man, I have my designer. Her name is Andrea, and she helped me put this whole office together. And so when I was looking into the chairs for this podcast studio, I wanted to get her take on it because she already knew the vibe of the office. The funny thing is, though, is when I was at the furniture store, I text Andrea and I was like, hey, what do you think about these chairs? She goes, I love them. She's like, burnt pumpkin is so in right now. And I was like, yes. Like, I sent her one picture. She says, yes, I'm in. Let's do it. So I buy them. And then like a couple of weeks go by, and then Ryan asks me for my payroll contact.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, my payroll contact, her name is Andrea. Let me send you her info. So I go to pull up, and I realize that I text my payroll representative the picture of these chairs.
Oh,
and she's the one that told me she loved burnt pumpkin, not my designer. And I called her. I was like, Andrea, why didn't you ask me like why I'm asking you about furniture? And she goes, I just thought you were asking me as a friend. So these chairs were actually recommended by my payroll representative,
right? Not
my designer. So I'm so happy that you like them, bro.
I think they look great. What did the designer end up saying?
She said they were okay.
Oh gosh.
They don't really go with the rest of the office, but you know what? This is its own standalone space.
100%.
So I'm cool with it. So
and I think they're going to look good on camera. I got a good feeling about the way they're going to look on camera.
Awesome, man. So I'd love to go back to the very beginning with us. We talked about this, the bathroom, you know, that meme with like EXP, like, so
that was me.
I'm at the Tom Ferry Summit. We've never met. I honestly don't even know who you are.
That's okay.
And you're like, bro, you're like Robert Mack. And you were just so excited. And your smile is like infectious, by the way, right? Like your smile is one of my favorite smiles on this planet. And I was like, you leave, you're like, dude, we got to get together. And I'm like, who was that guy?
Right.
Why is he so happy? So I'd love to get your perspective of like, how did you hear about me and how did that all happen? Before we move on.
What year was it? 2018?
It was, no, it was after. It's only been, I feel like you and I have only known each other, I want to say like 2020.
Okay.
Like I feel like it was the summit right like
before the one that we spent time at.
It was the summit where like the pandemic was still a thing.
Right. So I think the ecosystem, man, Tom Ferry has a group of agents that I feel like are at an echelon that he is, if he's not promoting purposefully, he's promoting like without purpose, but it's still to everyone's benefit. So I saw you as one of these rock star agents doing a ton of business that I'm like, oh man, like I'm peeing right next to him. I got to shoot my shot, you know, and we're in the same market. And it's funny because, you know, in my head, it's like all of us kind of know each other, but of course we don't.
Right.
And I'll never forget. Yeah. You were washing your hands or you were taking a piss and I was like, what's up, man? Like I'm Krys.
It was so
that's
good.
why I'm a good salesman. I shoot my shot.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't until, but I feel like you really embraced me after, because when we got invited to speak at the Summit 2022, you were, I feel like, the one that really instigated, hey, let's practice, let's brainstorm, let's collaborate. And I think that's really where the relationship began.
Yeah.
And then we did Baldy together.
Yep.
That was
Which
fun.
we got to do more
I would love
for
that.
sure. No, I remember following you on Instagram after that moment, because you had followed me or something, and I'm like, who is this guy? I got to figure this out. And then I figured out who your mom was. I'm like, oh, I've known Nahid for years, and this is her son. And then I started looking through your stuff, and I'm like, oh, he's actually super creative and fun, and somebody I want to get to know.
Thanks,
and
man.
so I was grateful that Tom put us on the stage at Tom X, and my buddy Tom Toole is a big preparer, so he had called me months before Tom X and was like, yo, we got to practice this, because this is a big stage.
Huge.
And when you hit me up and were like, I want to come down, let's practice, I was like, more practice, let's do it. And I feel like it made a difference.
Oh,
I feel like it made a difference. So awesome, man. Well, cool. Let's have some fun with personal stuff. I'm curious to know, if you were stranded on a desert, what would be the 3 items that you couldn't live without?
Stranded on a desert with 3 items I could not live without. And is it fair to assume that I have like a tent and food, or I need those kind of things too?
I'll give you the tent and the food.
Okay. So it's just like luxury items.
Yeah.
Does a person count as an item? Can I bring my wife?
3 anything.
3 anything. All right. So I have an infant child. I have a 2-month-old. So I'm going to count him as part of my wife.
Okay.
So I'm going to bring the family, because then suddenly it's not like this big sacrifice. And so that's my item 1. Item 2 is, I want to say something like maybe the iPhone, so we can communicate with everybody. And then I could keep them updated on Instagram.
Get a little hotspot going?
Yeah, exactly.
Pop up in the laptop?
I still got to be closing out there, man.
Yeah.
Item 3, because then if I have the internet, I have access to a lot of things. And then item 3, that's a great one. For the beach, I think I would definitely want maybe some fins and some snorkel gear, maybe some scuba gear.
All right.
Can the scuba setup be one full item?
You just have to, the world is your oyster, man. You just have to learn how to catch fish with your hands.
Right. This is the problem when you ask somebody like me one of these questions. Like, I'm qualifying everything.
Yeah. My go-to is always a machete. I feel like the machete is a must. And then because you can build shelter with
100%.
that, you can chop wood with that, you can kill animals with that.
You got to understand though, my hypothetical, like Robert Mack had already given me a tent. I had food.
You had like MREs ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. Like these are my 3 luxury items.
Oh man, dude, what's one of your proudest moments in life?
Ooh, proudest moments in life. Getting into the good stuff. I've had a lot of proud moments. My proudest moment, I feel so cheesy now. I was definitely overwhelmed with a sense of gratitude and pride when my kid was born. Just had Hendrix 2 months ago, so that's very fresh. And that's probably what a lot of people, that was a very special moment. Proud moments, I was very humbled when Tom asked me to speak at Tom X. I felt like that was a big moment for me. Not necessarily being on stage, but when they asked me to do that, that was big. I was really proud. I'm giving you a bunch of proud moments. I was definitely super proud when I came back from Everest. That's the truth.
Yeah.
I was very, very proud of myself with not just getting through climbing it, but thriving through it. I was really proud, not about the summit, but about my performance, about sort of the journey. Yeah. I got a lot of other ones. I don't want to be braggadocious. I've lived a good life.
I know, man. And those are amazing, all amazing accomplishments and definitely proud-worthy moments. I had a feeling you were going to say Hendrix for sure. So I've got some follow-up questions there. I had a feeling Everest was going to pop in. There's some follow-up questions there too. Fair. But the Tom X speaking gig was definitely awesome.
You know why? Because it's nice to transition. For me, it's transitioning from a different life, right? So like practicing law, getting into real estate, finding success. But then when you get the validation from your peers, wow, suddenly that feels a certain way. So that's why it's when I hit Robert Mack up in the bathroom and it's like I'm trying to be buddies with this guy, there's a level of like, you want to be the feathers that a bird flocks with, right? So I'm trying to get that nod from Tom and, it makes you feel a certain type of way.
Yeah. And you killed it too. I mean,
Thanks, man.
you know,
Likewise.
you had the fuck your mood, right? That was a big mic drop. And that, you know, I saw people making thermoses with them, and Tom Ferry's texting. Did you trademark it?
Tom Ferry texted me that picture of him with the cup. And when he texted me that photo of the cup, I said, I better make this shit legit.
Dude, I'm not going to lie, man. I wouldn't be blowing smoke up your ass. Like, I've literally said this to myself multiple times in different occasions where I'm just like, F your mood, bro.
Oh,
You know, F your mood. I'm getting tingly just thinking about it. But
I appreciate it, man.
it definitely had a long-lasting effect on me, and I'm sure many, many others, thousands of people. So great.
You also rocked it.
Thanks, man.
You also rocked it.
So Baby Hendrix, man, how do you find time to manage your business and your life and be able to be there for the special moments, but be able to also be there for your team and your clients and your beautiful wife? Like, how do you do it?
It's a great question, and I wish I had something more insightful other than I'm still very much figuring it out. Yeah. Paige is still on maternity leave. She goes back next week, so that's going to be a new sort of chapter, a new transition. I have been back and forth between San Diego and the LA office where home base is. So it hasn't been easy, but I think one thing that I've been telling myself, so last night I put up 2 listings and I was up late, put the baby down, had to finish whatever I was doing. And what it reminded me of is when I sort of have made conscious decisions to say, are you working hard to like work hard, or are you doing what it takes to get what you want? So, you know, I'm not hyped to be up at 11:30 publishing these listings, but I will do whatever it takes to be who I've like promised myself and my family I will be.
Yeah.
So, you know, I want to be the guy that reads the bedtime story. And if that means that I'm going to be up later to get done what I need to get done, do you do what it takes, or do you do just like till the clock strokes 6 or 8 or 10 or whatever the shut off is?
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is you're leaning into it and you're doing your best, and you're going to get better over time. That's the beauty of our human brain, is that we're designed to succeed and find shortcuts and hacks.
Right.
So as you get better at doing what you're doing, you'll find the way.
100%.
That's awesome, man.
People are resilient. Thanks, man. People are resilient. Not only are they resilient, you know this, like we adapt quickly. So things can really suck at first and seem just insurmountable. And it's just fascinating how a little bit of time can change things and how much can develop in a very short period of time. I don't think we give ourselves enough sort of grace to figure out that.
Yeah, I feel you on that. Definitely more grace with life. It's very complicated. So, dude, now that you're a dad, tell me your favorite dad joke.
Oh my gosh, dad joke? This is not my favorite, but this is the first one that came to mind. You know Shane Bergman? Shout out Shane Bergman out of Florida.
The Mandalorian guy?
Yeah.
The guy that dresses up like characters? Yeah.
What's so good is that people don't like, that's how you know him.
Yeah.
Shane made some sort of joke. He posted a video today about limestone, and then the butt of the joke was like something granite. Now I'm botching the joke. I haven't been dad long enough to have dad jokes.
I had a feeling you might not have a dad joke, but I was hoping you would so I could do this. I've been wanting to use that button for a long time.
Yes.
All right, man. Let's go to Everest, bro.
Let's go there.
I've heard a lot about your experience on Everest. You shared a lot about it at the Tom X presentation. I'm curious to hear, what was your toughest moment on Everest? Like that one micro moment where you were just like terrified, afraid, wanted to give up. Like, do you have one moment? Can you think of like the hardest moment on Everest? Have you shared it before publicly, like on stage?
On stage, no. I don't know if I've ever recorded it on video. I definitely talked to people about it, and it's not what you would expect. So don't get me wrong.
Well, by the way, let's preface by telling, for somebody who's watching this right now that may not know your backstory, we're talking like everyone knows who we are.
Right.
You summited Mount Everest last year.
Almost a year to the day.
Yeah. So 12 months ago, you got to the highest point in the world.
I did.
And you spent 3 months out there?
About 2 months.
Almost
2 months.
out there. And that's no joke.
It was a long trip, man, but you've climbed Aconcagua, or you made a summit attempt on Aconcagua, so you know those trips they're big expeditions. And for a good portion of that, you're not even climbing. You're just sitting and waiting and getting up.
Acclimating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there was definitely a few moments on the mountain that were very sobering. Saw a few dead bodies. That is definitely, not the scariest moment, but very humbling and very sort of heavy, right? So some of the heaviest moments. We got caught in a very small avalanche, thank God. I remember thinking that was a little bit scary, but to be super transparent and a little bit vulnerable with you, the scariest thing that I dealt with on Mount Everest was the feelings that I didn't know I was going to be grappling with when I came home. So it's not like one micro moment, but I want to say honestly, 6 months after I got back, I was still in a weird funk. And this is me being the Tom X thing was a very unique time because that was August. I had just gotten back end of May, pretty fresh. So what is that, June, July, 3 months? 3 months, I was feeling hella depressed. And I was really having to be like rah because I was doing that thing and I'm talking to people about fuck your mood and I'm talking to people about doing what it takes and I'm here preaching this. And I was really feeling, it sounds so privileged and bougie, but just like worthless, right? Like not motivated to eat right, not motivated to go to the gym, really not motivated to work super hard. I was doing things because I had sort of disciplines, but the motivation wasn't there. And I just felt so, man, I just really did not like myself. And I think it was sort of that big void. I felt very empty. It wasn't until December 2022, so almost 6-7 months that I got back, that I feel like I started to find my mojo again. I'm not sure if it was purely chemical. I understand that big trips like that can mess with your, hormones and stuff. I think that was a piece of it. I think also a piece of it is I had dreamed of something for 10 fucking years.
Yeah. Another chapter's done.
And then
it's closed. Now what?
Made me feel terrible.
Yeah.
And even now it's, it's like I love talking about it because I'm nostalgic, but it's like shit's done.
Yeah.
And it's
when you dream for something for so long and then you finally achieve it, like you have to have a what's next. And
100%.
when you don't have a what's next, you do feel empty.
100%.
Yeah. I can 100% relate to it. I had that depression feeling for a couple months after I came back from Argentina. Dude, ask my team. I literally was about to quit real estate. I went to REI and asked them for an application for employment, because I had convinced myself that I just wanted to spend more time with outdoors people.
Right.
And then I just talk about like gear with them. And then maybe I could tell them that I'm a realtor on the side and I can help them buy and sell, because I was done. Like that's what Aconcagua did to me. And even with the Ironman, I came back on June the 13th, and I had no purpose. And I gained 25 pounds in like a month and a half. And I'm finally now back to my Ironman weight.
Right.
After a year, literally a year, like it'll be a year in June. So like I get it. And it's so funny because I thought you'd have the craziest, scariest moment on the mountain. One of the most like deadly mountains, right? It's top 10. Like it's dangerous.
But you're so dialed in. Like it's kind of like role playing. You manifest. Of course I can't control things like the weather, but everything that happened, I saw in my mind's eye for 10 years. Yeah. So when the wind is howling and you think the tent's going to get ripped off, I was waiting for this moment. I dreamed about laying in this tent, hearing the wind like this. When I see the granite plateau, like the Hillary Step, and I know that like how slippery, like I was waiting for this moment. So not to take anything away from the fear, but when you visualize something for so long, I feel like I'm just writing what's already happened. Like, of course, the summit wasn't guaranteed to me, but I had summited Mount Everest 365 times for 10 years, whatever 360, 3,650 times. I kid you not. Yeah. So all of it was like, of course this is going to happen. I never once prepared for how I was going to feel when I got back. Yeah. Now I know after the next big one.
Well, I think it's one of those things that you can't prepare for, right? Like you just go through it and then you experience it and you deal with it. So... Well, amazing experience, amazing feat either way.
Thanks, man.
And I know you learned so many things and you've been able to share your story and help others. So good for you, man.
Thanks, man.
Let's jump back into some professional, some work stuff.
Let's do it.
I'm curious to know, what are some of the habits that you can't live without? What are those things that you do when you wake up in the morning or during the day, or even your evening routine that you're like, it's ingrained in your schedule and they're positive habits for you?
So when I am most dialed in, the best form of Krys wakes up and goes to the gym. Things have been slightly different with Hendrix, but my routine for every year up until this was wake up 4:50, 5 a.m. and I'm at the gym. After that, first thing, like order of business that I get done after I'm back from the gym, ready to go, is I'm pretty much publishing my content. So I'm putting it out on Instagram. I have the team help me distribute everywhere else. But generally, in the perfect world, I am posting my shit by 7:15 to like 8 a.m. Anytime in like 7:15 feels great when I can get it out early. The perfect day, I'm on the phone from about 9:30 when I'm done with the team meeting and done with the role play till about, honestly, when I'm flowing, easily until 12 or 1. If the world was perfect. And then in the afternoon, I'm running around doing whatever, whether it's going to be at appointments or it's writing scripts, working on content, working on something for the business. And then I guess I don't mention the family in there. My wife is in her residency. So I'm with a partner who's working 80, 90 hours a week. So our life is going to look very different when I think her life slows down a little. But in the meantime, I've got no reason not to just hustle. Well, it's changed a bit with this baby, of course. But up until then, it's like, I'm here to work.
So you're not only building the team, but you're also still in production.
100%.
So how does that work? How do you define what are the clients you're going to work with versus what are the clients the team's going to work with? Do you have any systems around that?
Yes. So that's a great question. The way that our team is structured, and I think relatively it's because I'm working with a lot of new agents, they're not fishing entirely for themselves yet, which is fine. Also, my wife and my kid are in San Diego, but by nature of a lot of the calls we're getting from where the business has been from my mom being in the industry for so long is in LA, Orange County, and San Bernardino. So unless it's a close friend, family member, somebody that I'm really like have a connection with, once I get them qualified, once they're ready to start shopping, I dish them to a team member and they will take them from shopping to close. And I'm still omnipresent, so I'm still talking to that client whenever they need me, but I'm really not in the field anymore, mainly because of the distance, because I do want to see Paige and Hendrix as often as I can. I am doing more business in San Diego. One reason why I don't do a ton is because I don't have a lot of manpower out there. So this, it's very difficult to be at inspections, at showings. It's tough to juggle a ton of buyers when you're also juggling a ton of other things. Yeah. So for the most part, I dish all that. And then all the listings, I make time to be at the appointment, be at the content day, like listing appointment, get it ready for market. I'll be there to shoot the content for the listing. And then the team will help me with open houses and all that.
Do you ever get creativity block or writer's block?
100%.
How do you work through those kinds of things?
Man, so the creativity block, it's funny that you say that because I feel like I used to be stronger at just pushing through the rut. But I force myself to sit down even when I feel like I can't come up with anything. And I force myself to put something on paper. So I have on the calendar once a week creative time.
I love that.
So every Monday, I do have it on my calendar that from 3 to 5, I am just coming up with ideas.
Give me some examples. Like, what is creative? It's 3 o'clock on Monday.
Yep.
You got a piece of paper in front of you. What are the first 3 to 5 things you'd write down right now? Okay.
So if it's 3 o'clock on Monday, I have my laptop open and I have monday.com open.
Okay.
Like Trello.
Yep.
Or Asana, any of these task managements. I got that open with a master page that says scripts and ideas. I'll have my cell phone, most likely with Instagram open to my saved tabs. Because if I see something that I like, sure as shit, your What's in the Box video is saved. field it, like all of that saved.
That's that little flag on the right side?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. I click that flag for any time that I'm inspired by something that I want to resort to later. So the one where it's 10 items I can't live without, that was brilliant. Straight from GQ, I thought, right? All the GQ guys do that. I loved that. And when you did that, I was like, how is he the first motherfucker that is doing this outside GQ? It's brilliant.
Yeah.
So I saved it.
It's them.
Killer.
Thank you.
Very good. So I will visit those sort of things and then flesh them out, right? So I'll be like, I like that concept. How could we play on it? Or I will, if I have a listing coming up, I'm really trying to make campaigns around listings. I'm really not trying to make just one listing video anymore. I'm really trying to create a whole package of content, especially as the market is changing and houses sit on the market longer. I don't want to just be able to publish one video the first week it hits the market and then I'm done. The reality is we need like 3 to 6 weeks worth of videos, right? Like one a week at least. Like how else can I post this? So I am trying to, so during those creative times, I'll be working on ideas like that. What kind of creative videos could I make around listings? I'll write scripts. With the help of ChatGPT and Jasper and all that stuff, I feel like it has gotten way easier to get the juices flowing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, even for some of the stuff that we're going to be working on today, I threw it into ChatGPT, and
wouldn't you?
The best is like when you're like, hey, give me 10 questions, and then you go, give me 10 more.
Right.
Give me 10 more. Make them playful.
Right.
And all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, these are some great questions, or at least it helps you break through the writer's block. So
100%.
I love the creativity time, and I feel like that's one thing I'm lacking. I feel it's funny when we were talking a couple weeks ago or last week about this day, I was telling you how I didn't feel like I'm creative, and you're like, well, I bet you're more creative than you think. And I agree with you. I need to spend, I think whoever wants to do more in any type of like field, they just need to spend more time in it.
That's right.
So what do you recommend to someone who is or feels creative that wants to do more on social media, but isn't? Maybe they're trying to make everything. I don't have the camera. That's what I hear all the time. I don't have a camera crew.
Right.
I don't have the budget, but like you still got a phone.
100%.
So what do you recommend to someone like that to get started?
I mean, I wish it was more complicated than just saying you have to get started. And the sooner you get started, the sooner you will get better. And that's the part that I wish I would have started in 2012. I wish I would have been making content in law school. I wish I would have been making content in college, right? Because I'm getting better every day. And I'm so grateful for all the shitty podcasts that I've blown in the past because it's helped me get better for this one.
Yeah.
So if you're aspiring to be, whoever on the internet and they're phenomenal, how do you bridge that gap? I think it was Ben Balak that had made a Instagram reel about this. He's like, how do you compete? He said something eloquent in his like eloquent way of how do you compete with people with more experience? And it was like, get more reps in. He said it differently, but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, do more.
Do more.
Yeah.
And there ain't nothing wrong with that. Like you're going to have to do 10 times as many videos or 10 times as many speeches on stage to get as good as Tom Ferry. Dude lives on stage.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny actually. I went on a trail run the other day, and there's this hill called Big Red, and it's ferocious. And if you can jog/run up the hill, you're a beast.
I love it.
And for years, I'd run up a quarter of the way and be like, there's no way. Like it's not humanly possible. And then like after a year, halfway up, right? And then I was running the other day, like 2 days ago, and I ran up it. And I not only do I run up it, I don't even stop. I keep going. 100%. And it went from not being able to run up it to being able to run up it, but then being completely out of breath for 20 minutes to getting up to the top and resting for 10 minutes to 5 minutes to now I don't even stop. I just jog up and I keep going like it wasn't even there. And the mindset in my head, I was like, what happened? What changed? And my mindset went from getting to the top of it to going through it.
Right.
And I was like, well,
I love that.
I was like, well, then how did I do that though? And it was simple. It's repetition and a dynamic strategy. So the strategy I was using originally wasn't working because my breath and my steps weren't in alignment. But when I got my breath in alignment with my steps, in alignment with my heartbeat, in alignment with my brain, that strategy plus just doing it over and over for 5 or 6 years made it easy.
I love that.
And so that's kind of what I think. It's like, do more reps.
Dude, that's the business. I think that's the hardest thing with everybody. with everybody in this industry. I mean, the rejection is real, the losses are real, but every no is closer to the yes. And that's why, I mean, you have to treat things like a game and you have to anticipate them to be hard. You know, like if everybody was going to make it, like if it was easy to prospect, everybody would be killer salesmen.
Yeah.
But it's not easy. If it was easy to feel comfortable and natural in front of a camera, everybody would be doing it. But it's not easy. So it's choose what you want to be a beast at. But I think you just need to, but even if you don't like, and this is speaking, assuming that agents are watching this, even if you don't like making content, it better be a piece of your business, because if the guy next to me, you know, agent B is like, well, I love being an agent, but I hate talking on the phone. It's like, you're missing the mark, homie.
Yeah. I was talking to Ryan yesterday, and he said, we were talking about Instagram, you know, and trying to get more of the team involved in making social media posts. And he was like, you know, when I got into real estate, I didn't have Instagram.
Right.
But he goes, I got Instagram because I knew that I needed to start getting the word out about the fact that I was a real estate agent. And he's like, now I can't imagine marketing myself in this business without Instagram, you know? And he's like, I do stuff I don't want to do, and now I'm comfortable doing it. But
Right.
before I didn't want to do it, but he knew there was a need for it.
100%.
So I love that. Let's close out with one fun question.
Give it to me.
If you were any fictional character, who would you be and why?
Fictional character.
Yeah.
I love Keanu Reeves.
He's pretty amazing, man.
He is amazing. He was the first person that popped in my head. So I was like, maybe I want to be John Wick, but that's a brutal life to be John Wick.
Dude,
so maybe
very
I want to
stressful.
be, it would be super stressful. Maybe I want to be Keanu Reeves in Point Break. Johnny Utah.
Anybody in Point Break. Point Break is easily one of the best movies on the planet.
I got it tattooed on my Via con Dios.
Oh my God. I watch Point Break easily once a year minimum. It is so good. Johnny Utah.
Are we kindred spirits?
Yes.
Did we just become best
We
friends?
are. What a way to close out this episode, man. Thank you so much, bro.
Thanks for having me, Robert.
That was awesome.
This was a blast.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you see, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you have any ideas for any future guests, comment below. I'd love to hear what you think.
That was great, man, for a first run.
That was fun, man. Thank you.